Welcome to Response to Literature 4. Before we get started, let's make sure we have all the supplies we need. We should have the lesson plan, Response to Literature 4, and it should have the step symbol. If you're on the computer, you'll be doing the step lesson today. You need a pen or a pencil, and you should also have a copy of Lupita Manana out and ready to go. Remember that when we're on the computer, we do have expectations for you to follow, and you should remember to make sure you're following the champs for the computer. Your conversation should be a volume level 0. If you need help, please raise your hand. Your activity is completing the lesson and reading the chapter. Your movement is raising your hand if you need to get out of your seat, and I'll know you're participating if I see you writing, if I see your headphones on, and I see you tracking in your book. With your finger or with an index card. Let's start by writing our name first on the top right hand of our lesson plan, if we haven't, on the top left hand, if we haven't done so already. Today's date, today is 3/17. I'm sorry, today's going to be the 18th. And go ahead and write your English period here. Let's also make sure that we read the objective for today. Today I am explaining the significance of an important event in Lupita Manana so I can increase my depth of understanding when reading. I know I will have met the objective when I can write a power paragraph explaining the significance of an important event in Lupita Manana. So my action verb today is explaining. Today I'm going to be explaining the significance, right, of an event. In our chapter today, we'll be on chapter 4. So while we have explained the significance before, because this is going to be a new important event, I'm going to say that I'm a number 2 because I'm confident in my ability to complete the objective after I've completed reading chapter 4. Let's look at our first sentence. It says, use editing marks to revise the following sentence, then write the corrected sentence on the lines below. Please go ahead and push pause and correct your sentence at this time. When you're ready to check your answers, go ahead and hit play, and you can check your answers with mine. Great. Let's go ahead and check our answers. We can see that we need to capitalize Jennifer, Stephanie, and Rosa because those are names. That makes them proper nouns. I also see that I need to capitalize final in the title, Final Friday, because that makes it, because it's a title, it is also a proper noun. You can see that we needed to add commas after Jennifer and Stephanie because we are listing more than 2 things, in this case, more than 2 people. We also need to change goes to go and went to go to make the subject-verb agreement match in each of them. You can see that I've inserted a semicolon. These are 2 independent clauses, so you can either add a semicolon, or you can change them into 2 sentences, or you can add a comma with a conjunction, and they always go together, right? Either one of those options is a correct way to combine 2 independent clauses, making this a compound sentence. Then we also changed them to they. Them is the incorrect pronoun. It needs to be they. That would be the correct. And lastly, we need a period at the end. Please make sure you have all of these corrections in your sentence rewritten on the line. When you're ready to move on, go ahead and look at number 3. Question number 3 for the do now, change the following compound sentence into 2 simple sentences. So this time we're doing the opposite of what we have been doing, making 2 simple sentences into 1 compound. Now we want to change them back into simple sentences. So let me look at my sentence, my compound sentence. Jake loves butterflies and he catches them with a net, or in a net. Oops, catches them, that does not need to be there, with a net. So let's go ahead and change this. First, I want to see my subject. Here's my subject, Jake. That's and here's my predicate, loves butterflies, right? So my first subject is Jake, the second one is love butterflies. Then I have in my second independent clause, well right now it's a compound sentence, but it's still an independent clause. He is the subject, we know that's Jake, and then catches them with the net. is my predicate. So I'm going to make these 2 sentences. So the first one is going to be really easy. I can just say, Jake loves butterflies. And then period. My second sentence, I can either say he, because I know that I'm talking about Jake, or I can say Jake. So it's up to you what you want to say. I'm going to say Jake catches. And then again, we can say them, or we could say butterflies, depending on what we want to do. So Jake catches butterflies with a net, period. Now we have 2 simple sentences instead of 1 compound sentence. When you're ready to move on, go ahead and look down at number 4. You can hit pause if you need to continue writing at this time. Otherwise, let's look at question number 4. Number 4, what is the main idea of the following paragraph? Underline 2 supporting details to justify your answer. Scientists can measure the intensity of an earthquake. They use an instrument called the Richter scale. The Richter scale compares the strength of different earthquakes. Earthquakes below 2.0 usually can't be felt. Earthquakes over 5.0 on the scale can cause damage. A magnitude 7.0 is a major earthquake and can cause tremendous damage. Okay, so this is a lot of information, it sounds like, about a Richter scale, which is used to measure earthquakes, how intense they are, if they're really strong earthquakes or if they're really mild earthquakes. So let's see what our options are for the main idea. A, scientists can measure the intensity of an earthquake. B, strong earthquakes can cause a lot of damage. And C, some earthquakes are very small. So I see that B is only one part about the paragraph. It's not what the paragraph is all about. And C is also only one part of the paragraph. Whereas A, the whole paragraph is mostly about A. Scientists can measure the intensity of earthquake. And then we have a lot of examples of those. So going back to our second part of the question, underline 2 supporting details to justify, we could actually find B and C and underline those as 2 examples of how those measurements look. So it says they used an instrument called a Richter scale. Okay, that is an example. That's a supporting detail. We can underline that one. The Richter scale compares the strength of different earthquakes. Again, here's another detail about measuring the intensity of earthquakes. Here's another detail you can use. And here's another one. The whole paragraph, actually, every sentence after could be supporting details about scientists can measure the intensity of the earthquake, because the whole paragraph is about that. All right, make sure you have at least 2 details memorized, or underlined, excuse me, and then we're ready to move on. As you can see, there's a note down here at the bottom in bold and with some asterisks. It says, read chapter 4. Remember to track as you read to show you are following along. Okay, so at this time, you're going to select the video for chapter 4 under the Lupita Mignogna chapters, and make sure you track as you read. When you're done reading the chapter, you'll be ready to move on to the lesson.